Alabama public radio station faces $155,000 cut. What's next? A shocking financial blow is rippling through Alabama's public broadcasting scene, and the fallout may leave some communities in total media silence. Could your favorite local station disappear for good? Here's what's happening, and why the debate is heating up. Alabama's beloved Huntsville radio institution, WLRH, is staring at an uncertain future after Congress voted to claw back a massive $1.1 billion from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, the very organization that supplies the major funding lifeline for NPR affiliate stations and PBS channels in towns and cities nationwide. This decision isn't just about tightening federal purse strings for public broadcasters, it's an existential crisis in the making. In a candid post shared to LinkedIn over the weekend, WLRH 89.3 FM/HD sent a clear warning: the budget cuts could force smaller, rural radio stations across the country to go permanently off the air. And this is the part most people miss: when stations lose this crucial funding, entire communities may lose access to local news, culture, and emergency information they rely on every day. WLRH's general manager, Eric Bruckner, revealed that the station will see a staggering $155,000 wiped from its annual budget, about 13% of its yearly operating costs. To put that in perspective, imagine an already lean nonprofit suddenly working with a much smaller toolbox. We're evaluating our options going forward, but have not made any decisions at this point, Bruckner shared about plans to manage the financial shortfall. But it's not just radio facing the squeeze in Alabama. The state's PBS affiliate, Alabama Public Television, is on track to lose more than $2.8 million, a 13% cut to its total operating budget. Such figures raise thorny questions about the future of public media access in rural and underserved areas. Here's a bit of background many newcomers may not know. WLRH first hit the airwaves in 1976, founded by the Huntsville Madison County Public Library in a bid to reflect and amplify local voices, stories, and culture. For decades, it's been home to signature programs like Microwave Dave's Talkin, The Blues, Bob Labbe's Reelin in the Years, and Invisible City with Brad Posey, which have become fixtures for listeners across North Alabama. WLRH's broadcast reach stretches from north of Fayetteville, through Scottsboro, west as far as Decatur, and south down to Cullman. But with this new financial hurdle, station leaders acknowledge tough choices will have to be made in the months ahead. It's a challenge that landed in the lap of Eric Bruckner, who only joined as general manager this April after 3 decades in radio. He's now tasked with guiding the station's response to a suddenly shrunken budget and the risk of deeper cuts down the line. And here's where it gets controversial. Every single Republican member of Congress representing Alabama voted in favor of the rescission bill, while both Democratic representatives, Shomori Figures and Terry Sewell, opposed it. Is this the right time to strip funding from public services, or does the federal belt tightening go too far? The final decision will rest with President Trump, who is expected to sign the bill into law soon. Despite these headwinds, WLRH leaders insist they're not backing down. Public radio was built on community, reads a statement from the station. WLRH's strength comes from its deep connection to the people of Huntsville and the Tennessee Valley, and that relationship will remain at the heart of everything we do. With the continued support of our listeners, we will navigate these challenges together, and continue to be a vital part of life in North Alabama. And this is where it gets personal, with local news and culture on the chopping block. What do you think? Should public media funding be protected at all costs, or is it time for these stations to find their own way? Is this just politics as usual, or something more? We want to hear your take. Does this decision threaten the fabric of communities like yours, or is it a reasonable response to budget pressures? Drop your thoughts and debates in the comments below.